Good, happy Sunday morning, everyone. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this special report right here on the Riley King Network in this special edition of Hurricane Irma coverage. Let's begin. We begin with breaking news. Eye of Hurricane Irma approaching Florida Keys. Deadly Hurricane Irma will make landfall in Florida Keys early Sunday before moving up the Gulf Coast on a rare course for Tampa. Your 7 o'clock a.m. update came in. Radar picture shows Hurricane Irma landfall getting closer. The eye wall of the storm is closing in on the Florida Keys. The center of the storm is just 15 miles southeast of the islands. The eyewall is what contains the strongest winds inside of the hurricane. And here is a video. Hold on, everyone. Here is a video we're going to play for you real quick.
We provide a service like few others across the United States.
Modified CBTMS at Cheshire Medical Center.
We have the equipment and the training to handle life support missions.
We have the landing zone set up in the ball field.
We take care of the most sick and most badly injured patients, and to be able to help those people on a daily basis is incredibly rewarding.
Irma has the entire state of Florida in its sights. The storm is massive, 70,000 square miles, larger than Florida's entire land area. Heavy wind and sustained rain hammering the region, and hundreds of thousands already without power. At least 36 million people are under hurricane warnings, and those who didn't evacuate hunkering down and holding on.
We have shelters on the East Coast, shelters on the West Coast. Of course, as the storm track pushed to the west, we began to mount up more shelters and evacuation centers over on the West Coast.
The storm regaining strength after pounding Cuba, intensifying to a Category 4 in the waters south of the Florida Keys. Irma was further west than originally anticipated when it finally turned north, putting Tampa and the West Coast squarely in the storm's path.
We've been lucky because we haven't taken a direct hit in over 90 years. So we really have been blessed, but we also recognize that our day was going to come, and it looks like our day has come.
Although Miami and the east coast of Florida will be spared a direct hit, water is still rising there. With as much as 20 inches of rain predicted through Wednesday, Florida can only wait and hope for the best.
Okay, and there you go on that video in that report. Hurricane Irma regains strength as a Category 4 storm as it barrels toward Florida. Hurricane Irma edged closer and closer to Florida early Sunday morning. It gained momentum and strengthened to a Category 4 storm around 2 a.m., according to the National Hurricane Center, reported by ABC meteorologist Dan Menzo. As of 6 a.m., Irma's center was 30 miles southeast of Key West, traveling northeast at 8 a.m. at 8 miles per hour, with maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. Wind gusts in Key West were clocking in at 66 miles per hour. A weather station near Fort Pierce reported a 4-hour rainfall total of 10.53 inches between midnight and 5 a.m. The rainfall rate along the east coast of Florida was 3 inches per hour. The National Weather Service followed up with a tweet that read, "Everyone in the Florida Keys, it is time to hunker down. The worst winds are yet to come." And take a look at what else they shared for everyone as well. A tornado watch is in effect across the area, and 2 such twisters have already been reported in South Florida. The storm, which had been downgraded to a Category 3 after making landfall as a rare Category 5 hurricane in Cuba early Saturday morning, has sent 124,000 people to Red Cross and Red Cross-affiliated shelters as of Sunday morning. That figure does not include church and ADHOC shelters. More than 6 million people have been warned to evacuate its path. A slew of counties and cities in South Florida have issued curfews. Some 10,000 flights have canceled in anticipation of Irma, about 7,000 of them in Florida alone. President Trump tweeted a video from a cabinet meeting Saturday telling people to get out of Irma's way. Property is replaceable, but lives are not, and safety has to come first. Don't worry about it. Get out of its way, Trump said. Florida Governor Rick Scott called the storm unpredictable. "This is a life-threatening situation," Scott said Saturday. "Our state has never seen anything like it." The governor stressed the danger of what he called a deadly, deadly, deadly storm surge. ABC News meteorologists are forecasting storm surge of 10 feet in Tampa and Sarasota and 10 to 15 feet from Fort Myers to Naples. Somewhat lower storm surge of 3 to 6 feet may occur from Miami to Key Largo. Winds were already picking up in Florida early Saturday with gusts between 40 to 60 miles per hour. Hurricane-force winds and gusts over 150 miles per hour are possible in the Keys by daybreak Sunday. As of 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, 381,429 customers of various Florida utility companies were without power. Florida Power and Light, the state's largest utility, said 317,440 of its customers were without power. Ahead of Irma's arrival in the Sunshine State, the last flight departed Friday night from Miami International Airport and Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. Miami's airport officials remain open, while Fort Lauderdale's airport is closed for Saturday and Sunday. Many ATM machines across southwest Florida were without cash by late Friday night after people stocked up in case Hurricane Irma causes power outages that make debit and credit card transactions impossible, Associated Press reported. Irma turns to U.S. after plumbing the Caribbean, leaving at least 20 dead. And now we're going to take a look at some video from Good Morning America live right now on their website.
So you have to get out. And that we prepared, but there's always more you
Take a
can
listen.
do. So I'm going to pray for everybody. I know our first responders are going to do everything they can to take care of everybody. And we have over 400 shelters open. We worked last night with our healthcare industry, our nursing homes, our assisted living to make sure if people needed to evacuate or they needed something, we got it to them. We were trying to make sure we had all the food, water, everything we need. The most important thing is get everybody to safety. I've checked our traffic cameras this morning. People are off the roads, which is good. I hope they've all gotten into a safe place. I know everybody's going to pray, but just keep praying for each citizen in our state.
Governor Scott, our thoughts are with the people of this state and with you as you ride out this storm as well. And you heard Governor Scott there say, Dan and Paula, about the first responders. And we should note that here in Collier County, they just declared a civil emergency just a short time ago, pulling all of their first responders off the streets. I showed you that giant tree that already came down. And as I mentioned, we're still 6 to 7 hours away from those catastrophic winds of about 130 miles per hour. They're expected to last for hours here. The Weather Service warning of tornado-like damage possible when you reach wind speeds like that. So we'll be here for that, and we have a plan here for our team. Obviously, not to be standing out here, but to be inside if need be. And we'll be here throughout the afternoon with you.
All right, David, thank you so much. It's tough to hear what could possibly happen, especially to the southern part of the state. We want to check in with senior meteorologist Rob Marciano, who is in Sarasota. And Rob, what can you tell us right now about Irma?
Well, that it's going to last the entire state, as you mentioned. David gets it to about 6 to 8 hours from now, and then we'll get it really at 10 to 12 hours from where we are now. And the east side of the state is getting it too. I mean, this is just massive. The radar shows just how expansive the rain shield is, and that tornado threat goes all the way up towards the Daytona Beach area. And the winds are gusting over 60 miles an hour across the mid part of the eastern part of this state. But the core right now is hitting the lower Keys. We just got a report of a 90-mile-an-hour wind gust at the National Weather Service in Key West, and those winds are going to gust well over that as we go through time. The waves are going to be a huge factor, not just here along the Gulf Coast, but really, you know, the core of this is on the west side, but the waves are going to be actually bigger across Miami and across Palm Beach as that continental shelf plays into part of those waves being bigger. The surge will be bigger here west. The waves will be bigger on the east. It's going to be a mess just about everywhere. And there's your forecast track. It becomes a little less important as we go through time because we're in it now, and it's going to come right over the Sarasota area right around midnight. That is a quick check on what's going on with Irma. It is time now for your local forecast. This weather report is brought to you by Jif. Dan and Paula holding down the fort back in New York. Back to you.
And Rob, let me ask you just a quick question, and this may be a bit of a reach. I'm a perennial optimist here, but is there how much confidence do we have in the forecast? Is there any chance that the eye could move further west in a way that might make the damage mitigated for Florida?
You know, it's you move it west, you get it farther out to the Gulf of Mexico, and if it moves west, that means that there's probably less shear pushing it east, and which means it'll probably strengthen. I'm afraid at this point, Dan, there's really no optimistic viewpoint. It's a you know, we're talking about a Category 3 storm, or a 4 storm, I should say, hitting the west coast of Florida. That's not good for anybody.
No, it is not. Rob Marciano, thank you very much. We'll get back to you as the show continues this morning. We'll be right back with much more of our coverage of the very dangerous Hurricane Irma. Keep it here.
Okay, and there you go. That was some video we played for you of the Good Morning America show. They are doing live coverage on their website this morning, so you can go on to abcnews.go.com and watch Good Morning America on their website today for special coverage of Hurricane Irma. And that does it for my special edition and special report of Hurricane Irma AM edition. I'll be back at noontime for another edition with this coverage. Coming up at 8 o'clock is Politics with Riley King. We'll see you back here at 8 o'clock. I hope you enjoyed this special edition and special coverage. Goodbye, everyone.